Hello there! Welcome to St. Augustine, Florida, and welcome to the St. Augustine Alligator Farm. During this video, we will be talking about the local ecology found here in St. Augustine and the anthropogenic effects that we have on the community around us, or the effects that humans have on the environment. Let's start at the beach. The beach is a great place to have fun and relax, but we have to take certain steps to make sure that we keep the environment healthy. Come on, let's explore a bit. Beaches can be described as a body of water with a shore consisting of some kind of weathered material, like sand or rock, and that provides habitat for countless organisms. Many species can be found within these regions, and quite a few are considered keystone species, including the gopher tortoise. Their burrows provide protection from the elements and contribute to the survival of the indigo snake population. They both play a vital role in the overall health and success of the ecosystem. But the structure of our dunes are extremely important when it comes to our protection against strong storms such as hurricanes. They are naturally formed, generally, when wind-blown sand accumulates and piles up over time. Many plant species can thrive in these harsh environments due to their deep root systems, and they're specially adapted to survive in high salinity, windy, and dry conditions. These are very harsh conditions for a lot of organisms to survive in, so they have quite a few adaptations that work in their favor. The sand dunes act as our first defense against major storm systems such as hurricanes. Storm surges aren't nearly as bad when large dune systems are present. You can also provide protection against extreme weather events personally through building walls in and around your yard and elevating your structures. We must strive to protect these natural systems before they disappear. Not building beachfront properties and staying off the dunes when you visit the beach can make a huge difference. So, next time you visit the beach, thank it for all that it does for us. Pineland forests are our next ecosystem type. There are only 2 species of pine tree here in the state of Florida, and those are the scrub pines and the slash pines. Fire management is really important for these ecosystems, and the pine trees have special adaptations to allow them to not only survive, but thrive during these events. Oak hammocks or tropical hardwood forests are our next environment. The word hammock actually was used to describe a cool, shady place, but now it indicates specific areas that are slightly higher in elevation compared to the surrounding lands. That leads us into our next environment, and that will be our mangrove forests. Mangrove forests are very important both ecologically and for the protection of coastal communities. There are 3 main species of mangrove trees that are native to the state of Florida: the red mangrove, the black mangrove, and the white mangrove. These mangroves are slowly spreading north along the coast of Florida as climate change allows more regions to fall within their range of tolerance. These environments are slowly encroaching on the wetlands and the marsh, but both of them provide vital habitat for all of these coastal bird species. Our local marshes and wetlands provide space for many coastal bird species to look for food as the tides go in and out each day. People use the intracoastal waterway often as well for various recreational activities. These bodies of water not only act as carbon sinks and protect us from global warming, but also drive our weather system. Without them, we would be in a much different situation. Doing our part by picking up trash at the beach, reducing our carbon footprint, and turning off lights during sea turtle nesting season can really make a big difference in these animals' lives. The St. Augustine Alligator Farm has reserved space in our park for the nesting of many coastal bird species. We call this our rookery. The rookery can be described as a common area of breeding animals, specifically birds. Here in our bird rookery, we have roughly 150 alligators and provides the perfect place for countless wading birds to flock to each year to raise their young. Many species can be observed from the boardwalk, including great egrets, snowy egrets, roseate spoonbills, cattle egrets, great blue herons, tricolored herons, black-crowned night herons, yellow-crowned night herons, green herons, little blue herons, white ibis, wood storks, and sometimes anhingas. The season typically lasts from mid-February through August. You can see them displaying in that last video. Then they'll start collecting sticks, as you see here. They will wait on their nest until they have eggs to lay on. The incubation of these eggs will generally last between 20 to 30 days, depending on the species. Whenever the eggs are ready to hatch, both the male and the female will care for the offspring. The rookery at the St. Augustine Alligator Farm is located relatively close to the intracoastal waterway along the St. Johns River here in St. Augustine. That allows for a close distance for these birds to go out and look for food and be able to return quick enough to be able to feed their young. The wood storks here are such a great conservation story, and we're very lucky to have them. The baby birds will rely on the parents for a while, and the time it takes to fledge can vary between species. It can take anywhere from 2 weeks to 2 months until the chicks are ready to leave the nest. But why do the birds choose our rookery to nest? It's because of the alligators that we have. They act as a form of built-in security to provide protection from predators such as raccoons and snakes. The birds also feel safer when nesting all together as a group. But the marsh and the wetlands not only provide habitat for these nesting coastal birds, but also for other organisms, including these crabs and marine mammals. Florida manatees are listed as threatened and are federally protected. They're also considered a keystone species due to their dependence on various environmental conditions. Many species of sea turtle can be found throughout the state of Florida. These include loggerheads, green, leatherback, Kemp's ridley, and hawksbill. The most common found in St. Augustine, though, are loggerhead sea turtles and green sea turtles. Here you can see trash that has been left in the sand of the dunes. Both physical and noise pollution create negative impacts on the surrounding environment. An increase in recreational activities that support noise pollution greatly affects the communication efforts of many species of insects, frogs, and birds. These events have major influences on mate attraction, territory defense, parent-offspring communication, and more. Making sure we are aware of our volume can promote the survival of countless organisms. The population within the state of Florida is growing rapidly. In order to make room for all of these people, construction companies continue to clear land to make room for housing divisions such as condominiums and apartment complexes. Developing plans now to combat these issues will allow us to prepare as much as we can for the future. Another major problem are the effects caused by domestic and feral cats. These felines oftentimes compete with native species, and their actions ultimately lead to a decline in songbird populations. Making sure we keep our pets inside is just a small effort we can do to help. Many organisms are having to adapt and adjust to the changing environment based on our actions. Here you can see an osprey who has chosen to nest on top of a high-mast lighting structure in the parking lot of a grocery store. As we continue to create habitat loss and destroy the natural environment, these organisms will be forced to either adapt to survive or face the consequences. The various ecosystems of Florida are unique and beautiful. However, we must do our part to preserve and protect these natural environments. Conservation organizations such as the St. Augustine Alligator Farm, Anastasia State Park, the Guantanamo-Matanzas National Research Reserve, and more all contribute to the cause, and your support goes a long way. Reach out to us after the show if you want to learn more. If we can learn to appreciate the little things and recognize the wide biodiversity that Florida has to offer, then we will ultimately foster a love for conservation and preservation right here in St. Augustine.